Now that we've come through Rosh Hashanah, the days following, preparing for Yom Kippur, how do we enter Yom Kippur? So first we're told that eating on the day before Yom Kippur is as great a mitzvah as fasting is on Yom Kippur. One of the explanations might be eating before Yom Kippur is a sign of optimism. I'm going to eat, I'm not going to be hungry, I'll be healthy, I'll be fine. And I'm eating so that I can fast tomorrow or starting tonight. That optimism is a very important part of tshuva. Can't just focus on the negative. So we were students in yeshiva in 770 Eastern Parkway, and a great man, a great chassid, had been allowed to leave Russia. And this was in the bad old days. He had stood up to the communists, to the Soviets. He had taken all the abuse they could give. He outlived them, outsmarted them. A man who was bigger than life. And a very pious, really profoundly God-fearing individual. He also had a great sense of humor. He came to New York before Yom Kippur, and he walked into the study hall where I was sitting with my study partners, being a very friendly and devoted teacher. Not in the sense of a classroom or a job, but as an older chassid, he felt responsible and obligated to share Hasidic wisdom with the younger generation. Anyway, he sits down on the bench next to us, takes a look at the text that we were reading, and he sees the words Cheshbon HaNefesh, making an account of one's year. And he says, how do you do that? What does it mean to make an account of one's year? Like on Yom Kippur. He says you sit there in shul, fasting, wearing white like an angel, and you think about the sins you committed each month of the year. You remind yourself, oh yeah, January, Oh, February, wow, that was bad. And you go through all the months of the year, reminding yourself of sins you've already forgotten. And they pile up. And you regret them. And you ask for forgiveness. And you promise never to do it again. But the bulk of your time, of the 24 hours of Yom Kippur, you're thinking about sins. Not all of them equally regrettable. But this chassid, Reb Mendel, said, that's called taking an account of your year. And that's what you're supposed to do on Yom Kippur. Isn't that right? And we said, yeah, that's what you do. He says, you gotta be kidding. That's disgusting. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year. It's the only day that is holier than Shabbos. It's a double Shabbos. It's the Shabbos of all Shabboses. And on this holiest of days, you spend hours thinking about sin. This is how you become better? This is how you elevate yourself to a more innocent state? Feh. It's disgusting. We were in shock. Because traditionally, we assumed that that's what Yom Kippur is. Feel bad for your sins. Well, you got to remember the sin to feel bad about it. Mendel said, no, let me tell you what Yom Kippur is. For 24 hours, you think about how good God has been to you, how tolerant He's been of you and your sins. Doesn't matter which sin, doesn't matter how many, sin. He's been tolerant, He's been patient, He's been forgiving. He created Yom Kippur just to be able to forgive. He's given you whatever success you've had, whatever health you've had, whatever nachas you've had, whatever wisdom you've had. You could have gotten yourself into a lot of trouble. He protected you from yourself and from others. And that's how you go through your year. How good was God to you and how kind was God to you in the first month and then in the second month? Remind yourself. And after you've made this really detailed account of how God has been good to you, then in the eve of Yom Kippur you ask yourself, and how have I been to Him? He thought about me all year. He took care of me all year. He was right there beside me all year. And what did I do? I forgot about Him. I neglected Him. Didn't give Him much thought. Once in a while I remembered that there's a God. But it wasn't consistent. It wasn't nice. That's my regret. The regret of Yom Kippur is not what I did, but who I did it to. That is truly regrettable. And that is real tshuva. So let's not get distracted. Of course, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, would love us to sit and think about sins any day of the year, particularly on Yom Kippur. But that's not cleansing ourselves, elevating ourselves, purifying ourselves. That works in the opposite direction. To regain our innocence means to repair a relationship. Because innocence or guilt only exists in the context of a relationship. We were close. We had a good relationship, and then I did something stupid and I ruined the relationship. That's a loss of innocence. That's guilt. Guilt means I damaged something in a relationship. Now, it could even be a relationship with me. I harmed myself. I hurt myself. I damaged myself. Why would I do that? I must have not been thinking clearly. Now I'm thinking clearly, and I can't believe that I did that. Not I can't believe that I did the act. I can't believe that I would be so inconsiderate of myself, or of my best friend, or of my own parents, my own siblings, my own fellow Jew, or my neighbor, co-worker, employee, whoever it may be. Why would I do this to him or to her? And ultimately, why would I do this to God? The God who has been good to me? I have no excuse for the thoughtlessness. I may have a good excuse for the sin. It was tempting, it was there, I was in a bad mood, I don't have so much self-control, so I committed the sin. But how could I be so insensitive to someone so important to me? That's real regret. That's what Yom Kippur is all about. And that's why the word Kippur does not mean forgiveness. Kippur means cleansing. That we get rid of all traces of damage that was caused to the relationship so that we are back as close as ever and in some way closer. After Yom Kippur, every Jew should feel, I am closer to God now. No, that doesn't mean that I'm a saint. It means I think about God more often. Maybe he thinks about me more often. But we belong to each other. So what does it mean to get closer to God? To feel more at home with him, not so much like a stranger. Because our first impression of God is, he is infinite, he is perfect, he is awesome, he's all-powerful, he sits in heaven, and I am none of those things. So there's a huge distance between us. He is the creator, so I really should respect him, but I don't feel any closeness. After Yom Kippur, we should feel closer. We should feel like he's my God, I can talk to him. He thinks about me, I think about him. We're not strangers anymore. Does that make me a perfect tzaddik who does every single mitzvah? No, I'm still me. But I'm no longer a stranger with God. That's called reclaiming innocence. And that's what Yom Kippur is all about. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? You know, I do a lot of talking, a lot of Zooming, many classes, many subjects. But that's all formal stuff. Hopefully good stuff, but formal. We also have a Wednesday night meeting that's more informal and kind of Hamish. If you want to join us for that kind of an event, interactive, time for questions and so on, if you want to join us for this side of conversation, click on the link below and join us every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, maybe not every Wednesday night, but we try to make it every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, a more informal chat, which can be more enjoyable at times than the formal stuff. So check it out. Click on the link and join us. Try it, you'll like it.